Greetings, Earthlings. We are back on the SDC train because this is the SE Electronics sE7. If you are interested in this mic, it will cost you about $110. If this video helps you at all, consider using one of the affiliate links in the description. Really helps me out a lot. All of my recording settings will be linked in the description and the doobly-doo. And now let us talk about what comes in the box. What a surprise, you are going to get the microphone. You get a little foam windscreen, a microphone clip, a 5/8 to 3/8 inch microphone stand adapter, a little bit of documentation, and a couple of stickers. As far as the build quality of this microphone, it feels really great. It has an all-metal body as well as a metal mesh grill which covers the diaphragm of the capsule. On the side, you find two switches, one for an 80 Hz high-pass filter, the second for a -20 decibel pad. There are no other switches on the sides of the microphone. On the rear of the mic, you will find the XLR port, and if you care at all, this microphone is made in China. If you care about the specs of this microphone, I will list them all in the description and have them up on screen in case you want to pause and take a closer look. Now I'm spinning around the sE7 to 90 degrees to show you the off-axis rejection and coloration. Continuing around the microphone to 180 degrees, this is the rear of the mic. Continuing around to the second 90-degree angle, here we are, and then rotating and ending at the front of the microphone. Sorry about that. I know the Plosive Test doesn't make much sense with an SDC, but in order to be consistent, I will do it anyways with the provided foam windscreen. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Use a pop filter, please. Now I am right on top of the microphone to exaggerate the proximity effect and all of my mouth clickies, and here is how it sounds. Gross. Now I'm about 6 inches off with the mic pointed to the corner of my mouth, and here's how it sounds. Here I'm about 1 foot away from the microphone, about 2 feet away from the microphone, and now I'm about 4 feet away from the SE Electronics sE7. Now I am typing on a keyboard with Gateron blue switches to see how much of my voice versus how much of the keyboard it picks up. And for the gaming folk, I am now typing on the Shift W and the spacebar keys. I hate myself. Now here is how the microphone sounds about 6 inches away from my mouth in a fairly well-treated room. And now here is how the microphone sounds about 6 inches away from my mouth in a completely untreated room. Now to give you a couple of samples with the microphone in a different position, I now have the microphone overhead booming about 10 inches away from my mouth, and here's how it sounds in a pretty well-treated room. And for comparison's sake, here is how the microphone sounds in a pretty similar position, 10 inches away from my mouth being overhead boomed in a completely untreated room. And here is how the microphone sounds when it is being underboomed about 10 inches away from my face hole that won't stop talking. And just for good measure, here is an approximation of that same underbooming position in a completely untreated room, same-ish gain setting, and about 10 inches away from my mouth. Next, I want to see how effective the microphone is at rejecting shocks, so I'll start by tapping on my desk to see if it can reject that. And then I will tap on the boom arm. Next, because I'm annoying, I'm going to tap on the microphone to see if there are any kind of resonant frequencies. Again, I am right on top of the microphone to exaggerate the proximity effect, this time to see what the high-pass filter does. Currently, I do not have the high-pass filter engaged, and here's how it sounds. And now I have engaged the 80 Hz high-pass filter, which is 6 dB per octave, and here's how it sounds. Shouldn't affect too much of the low end, but it should clean up a little bit of the mud. Now I want to see if the provided foam windscreen has any impact on the tone of the recording, so right now you're hearing the microphone without any windscreen installed. And now here is how the microphone sounds in the exact same position, just with the foam windscreen installed. And because one is never enough, here is a second sample of the microphone without the foam windscreen on it. And here is another sample of the microphone in the same position, same gain setting, just with the foam windy screeny installed. Now, like I always do, I'm going to do a quick spoken word comparison between the microphone we're reviewing and a bunch of other mics that are available so we can hear how it stacks up against the competition and you don't just hear the microphone within a vacuum. Starting on the SE Electronics sE7, no high-pass filter and no pad, 6 inches away connected to the 18i20 with my gain set at about 130, and here's how it sounds. Let's go to the first mic. First up, we are on the Behringer C2, no high-pass filter and no pad, 6 inches off, gain set at about 130. Check the lower third to see how much I boost this in post. This microphone costs about $30 for one or $60 for two, and here is how it compares to the sE7. Back on the SE Electronics sE7 for a palate cleanser, here is how it's sounding. Let's go to another microphone. Now I am on the Rode M5. This has no filters or pads available. I am 6 inches off, gain still set at 130, check the lower third. This microphone costs about $200 for a pair, so $100 each. And here is how it compares to the SE Electronics C7. Let's do a bunch more. Alright, we are back on the SE Electronics sE7 again. Nothing has changed to get a good feel for it. Let's go to another mic. Now I am on the Sennheiser E614. This doesn't have any pads or filters available. I am 6 inches off, gain still set at 130, check the lower third because I will have to boost this a lot more in post. This mic costs about $200 each, and here's how it compares, why was I saying that weird, to the sE7. We are back on the SE Electronics sE7 again. Absolutely nothing has changed. What a shocker. Let's hear another microphone. Now I am on the big brother to the sE7. This is the SE Electronics sE8. No pad, no filter engaged. 6 inches off, gain at 130. Check the lower third. This mic costs $260 for a pair or $130 each. And here is how it compares to the little baby brother, the sE7. Let's do a bunch more. I am living extremely dangerously using this microphone without a windscreen or a pop filter. It is terrifying. Here is how the sE7 sounds. Let's go to another microphone. Now I am on the Shure SM81 with no pad and no filter engaged. Say it with me. 6 inches off, gain at 130, check the lower third. This microphone costs about $400 for a single mic, and here is how this compares to the SE Electronics sE7. Let's go back and do some more comparisons. We are getting very near to the end, so here is another palate cleanser so you can hear how the mic sounds before we go to another mic, right? Now I am on the Beyerdynamic MC930, no pad, no filter engaged. I'm gonna say it again. 6 inches off, gain at 130, check the lower third. This microphone costs about $700 each, and here is how this compares to the microphone we're reviewing. We have a couple more comparisons to do, so let's do them now. Alright, we have 2 more mics to go, so this is your penultimate palate cleanser on the sE7. Here's how it sounds. Let's go to the second to last mic. Next, I am on the Neumann. Hello, Neumann. KM184. This microphone doesn't have any pads or high-pass filters available. I am 6 inches off. My gain is still at 130. Check the lower third to see how much I boosted in post. This microphone is $1,600 for a pair or $900 each. And here is how this compares to the sE7, this being one of the gold standards for SDCs in modern times. Let's go back and do one final comparison. And we have one final microphone to go. Y'all know what it's going to be, but first up, here is the sE7. Clear out your ear canals with the tone of this microphone, and let's go to the last mic. And finally, I am on the Neumann. Hello, Neumann U87 Ai. I am on the Cardioid polar pattern with no pad, no filters engaged. 6 inches off with my gain set at 12 o'clock. It changed. This microphone costs about $3,700. It is not a fair comparison. This is just a control from video to video, and that is it. Those are the comparisons. Hopefully that was helpful. Let us now jump to the music test. B-O-O-G-E-R, B-O-O-G-E-R. When you stick your finger deep inside, behold the booger you will find. I couldn't bring myself to only use the lyric booger, so this is as good as it's gonna get. It may be the dumbest thing I've ever written, but that may be going a bit far because I've sung about a lot of really stupid stuff. It's irrelevant. Let's go to the conclusion. Are you any relation to the pop singer? Because I'll be honest with you, I love their mics. I am an SE Electronics fan. Plenty of people are gonna get that reference. I am a huge fan of this microphone, and SE Electronics just continues to impress me. And first up, as far as pros, the microphone has an insanely high max SPL at 156 dB. I also really enjoy the high pass filter because it cleans up the treble frequencies, but it doesn't extend so high that it ends up eating up any of the vocal frequencies. I also found the off-axis coloration to be inoffensive. It didn't have any trouble with resonant frequencies, and I thought it handled the untreated room pretty well. And then as far as cons, this is a small diaphragm condenser, so this should be no surprise to you, but it doesn't do a great job at plosive rejection, so if you're using it for that application, you're gonna need to have some kind of protection for that. Sometimes I also noticed that there was a bit of sibilance on this microphone, so if you have a super sibilant voice, it may not be the best fit because it can accentuate those. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Makes them a little bit more prominent. And this is more of a wish. I really wish this microphone came with some kind of zippered storage bag because I don't really want to keep a cardboard box for this thing. And now, what are my overall thoughts and opinions of the SE Electronics sE7? As far as the overall sound, I think it offers a nice bit of support in the bass and low mids, but it doesn't become overpowering or muddy. Then you get a nice and neutral and clean sounding midsection, and then you get a bit of a lift in the treble and air, which gives the microphone a bit of life. On the electric guitar, I think it works quite well, but the bass and low mids may be ever so slightly too much, so if you find that to be the case, the high pass filter and a bit of EQ and post are probably going to be your friend there. On the acoustic guitar, this is the sound profile that I look for and love. You get that neutral bass, low mids, and mid section, and then you get this articulate and lively upper end, which is exciting but not overboosted. For singing vocals, I think it's offering a balanced sound with a bit of airiness to it, which can be really nice for that application. And finally, for spoken word, I think that it offers a full-bodied sound without sounding muddy, a clear midsection that's not scooped, it's also not nasally, and then you get that articulate, detailed top end without sounding artificial. And to wrap up, would I recommend the SE Electronics sE7? Yes, I would. If you're looking for a versatile SDC that is relatively affordable, then I think this is a great option because to my ears, this thing sounds fantastic. And I am not qualifying that with, this sounds fantastic for the price. No, I think this microphone just sounds fantastic. Now, if you'll allow me to get a touch nitpicky here, something I did notice about the microphone is the upper frequencies don't come across quite as smooth or refined as some of the higher-end alternatives, but those frequencies still don't come across as harsh or grainy. But in lieu of that nit that I just picked, I think plenty of people are going to love this thing because it does give you that fairly neutral sound with a bit of a bump up top which gives you excitement, but it's not overdone. And on top of that, it gives you very useful switches on it, a really nice high-pass filter, and an insanely high max SPL. So all around, it is a really nice package, especially for the price. That's all that I've got for you. If you found this video fun, interesting, or helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Hated it, big ol' thumbs down. Watch the video that is beneath me. Thank you to the members, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye. Whoa, whoa, boop.